Hey, what's up, Skyball? I'm here with Imagination Creation Films, and today we're taking a wide look at the Irix 11mm full-frame cinema lens. It's wide. So first, full transparency, Irix did send this lens to me for review. Irix has no say-so in this review whatsoever, and no money has changed hands. So, to the review. Here it is. This is the Irix 11mm full-frame t4.3 lens, and, well, it's based off of a stills glass. And that comes with some interesting trade-offs. More on those later. Now, this lens is wide, exceptionally wide, like really wide, but it's not a fisheye. Now, it is full-frame lens, but it's also quite a slow lens at t4.3. It does go all the way up to a T22 though. The front element, well, it's bulbous. So bulbous, it'll make a manatee blush. That's pretty bulbous. Now its close focus is pretty close, as you would expect for an ultra-wide angle lens, at about 11 inches. And the construction is really nice. It's what we've come to be used to with the Irix lenses. The focus and iris are very smooth. Focus rotation is about 180 degrees and the iris is about 75. And it does come with a foot for support and a small hood to keep the sun off. Well, about this much of the front element. Now, the outside of the lens is 95 millimeters, so it's pretty standard for a lens this side. However, you're not likely mounting a matte box to this lens because, well, the field of view is so wide, the matte box is going to show up in the frame. If you need to put ND on this, you're going to find it a struggle to get matte boxes to fit. I managed to get the bright tangerine matte box to fit, but I had to extend it out to the extremes of its clamping surfaces to clear that bulbous front end with the ND. And it can slightly be seen in the image. It can be done, but it's not necessarily pretty. And the truth is, unless you're focusing 1 foot in front of the lens at t4.3, everything is going to be in focus in the background anyway. So just bump that t-stop up and get to shooting. Now, bumping up the t-stop has a bonus of sharpening up the lens a little bit. And, well, that's really desired because, well, this lens is soft, pretty soft, with a fair bit of distortion. There's no confusing it, especially around the edges. The distortion, well, it can almost feel like warp speed at times on the sides. There's no hiding it. And let's talk about chromatic aberration. Yeah, it's there and quite a bit wide open. It backs down a little as you stop down, but it never fully goes away. Now, where this lens comes in stronger is being able to get a very wide shot on, say, a Super 35 sensor. And that's because you won't be using the entire glass. So some of that distortion and softness, it won't be as visible. Now, the lens's image circle is 43.3 millimeters, which means it can vignette on some full-frame sensors, but only ever so slightly. It's technically full frame, just depends on the shape of the full frame sensor. Now, a lot of the oddities of this lens come from the fact that it and its brother, the 15, well, they were designed as still glass first. And still glass doesn't need certain problems solved. But when used as cinema glass, well, those problems can show up. And that's the name of the game and why cinema glass can cost so much more. Now, this is something that Irix changed after these initial designs. They started developing new lenses as cinema glass first, and that's fully evident in their 45 and 30 millimeter and the beautiful images that they create. So what are the pros and the cons of, well, the Irix 11mm Cine? Pros. It's wide, very wide, and it covers full frame, basically. It produces a nice image in the center, and it's designed to match the others in the Cine lineup, all the lens gears, all the spacing, they all line up across all of the Irix lenses, and that is quite nice. Very useful when you're swapping out lenses. Cons, well, distortion, it's quite hilarious. It's a really slow lens. It only able to get to T4.3, which, well, it's not ideal for some situations, especially in dark shooting. And vignetting with a matte box, it's going to be a problem. And then the CA, it's everywhere, and it's pretty strong. Now, I know this review comes off a little harsh, and well, I don't mean it to be. I'm just trying to be honest and give you my feelings and observations on it over the many, many months that I've been shooting with it. And the reason it takes so long is this is not a lens you grab every day. It's not a lens you can shoot with every day. It's really wide, so it takes special shots for this to be used. And I'm not just gonna put it in a fake scenario and give you my impressions on that quick fake scenario, even though some of these videos are quick little fake scenarios, just because some of the other stuff I can't show yet. Honestly, this is Irix's weakest lens, but it's also one of their oldest. It also shows how far Irix has come in their lens designs today. Do I hate the lens? No, not at all. You can't ignore the issues with it, so the best thing to do, embrace it and lean into it. Use the quirky nature of it as a character and add it when you need to highlight quirky, like a POV, drunk, snorri cam, dizzy, artsy, etc. There's so many ways you can use this lens in an artsy, useful way that will just embrace the oddities that it has. Now, there's no such thing as a bad lens. This lens is usable, and well, at 11mm, it's not like you're going to be reaching for it all the time, so it doesn't really have to solve every problem. So I won't reach for it often either, but when I want a quirky, artsy lens, well, it's the lens that I'm going to reach for. Not to mention, when I just need a really wide shot with a good amount of light visible, yeah, it's gonna be great. What do you think of this lens? Is it something that you like, don't like, find it hilarious or amazing? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what kind of shots you would use this lens for or not. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.